we interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I'm back. That still has a nice beat to it. Still seated twerking to bounce. New year, and that song still has a vibe in 2025. Also, it's time for a new intro. I am in with a podcast change. I added the F.A.A.F.O to it, but I'm back with the same formula that has allowed me to be successful in the past. I've set realistic intention. I plan on being present and following through, but I still intend to remain petty and hold grudges. Not all intentions need to be positive. Also, I will be unengaged and unbothered by people and things in my life that do not serve me. That means parasitic people, unsolicited judgments, biased newspapers, and mainstream banks. I will not apologize for maintaining my mental peace. Happy and unbothered and at peace because I'm at unbothered. All day, every day, being unbothered is my way. Join me. Chaos can be for good. Volatility, if perceived and navigated correctly, you can actually watch it, the glow up. Even when things are looking good and you can make a profit after only a small investment, don't lose your perspective. Refocus on your long-term goals and manage short-term excitement. Don't get caught up in the whiplash, making crazy purchases. Pause for the reaction to process it appropriately. Don't do anything irreversible for the first 24 hours. Process, don't act. Stay with your routine. Revisit why you did what you did, and then repeat. Make sure you seek counsel from somebody that you trust and that's also grounded, so you can take a sober assessment of the situation. Call your brokerage company. Get somebody that don't need to be all up in your business. Somebody not biased and that you think gonna play or hate you internally. Cultivating calm during the volatility basically can transform how you react to a potentially derailing event. Either you painful loss or you got a massive gain because you bought on the dip and you're not losing any money. How great it would be to be able to sit and enjoy positivity in your life and in your finances, etc. That way you can continue on your path with wisdom and stability. That's what it's all about. Calm, stability, navigating the lows, navigating the highs with a level head. That's the word right there. Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. So take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. Where's to know and where's to grow, a temporal rainbow. I can be anything. So take a look, it's in a book, a temporal rainbow. A temporal rainbow. A temporal rainbow. When I read Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler, one of the characters that I thought went left was Olamina's daughter, Larkin. If you've read that particular part of the series, Larkin was actually kidnapped from the original Acorn community, and she was actually placed for adoption. I thought that needed to be explored more because in the book, the original Parable of the Talents, she basically went on and got mad at her mother and never resolved her feelings of abandonment because she found out she was adopted and how she was adopted. And she thought her mother had given up looking for her, and they never reconciled. The tripped out part is Marcus Duran, Olamina's stepbrother, who was a minister in Christian America, basically knew where the girl was, and he kept it away from his own oldest half-sister. It was like he never had any kids. He may have gotten some disease when he was a sex slave, but that's neither here nor there. And she basically, in his mind, it seems like in the book, he basically justified his keeping the girl away from Olamina, her mother, Lauren, because she would not become conventional Christian or go back to the old ways when the old ways didn't work. And she, for whatever reason, it seems like that character, Larkin, always felt bad for her uncle Marcus, but it was more convoluted than that. And it was easier for her to take it out on her mother. It just seemed like, I thought that was a different dynamic. But just like I'm finding in the whole series is we are not going to be on the struggle out in outer space. We got to know how to not jack up this world so much. This world has to recover to a certain extent before we can actually be successful in outer space. Because you can't always be on the struggle. There has to be a way that we don't destroy this world before we go and take the same stupid stuff to the next world. We got to get it together down here so we can even get back into outer space. And that's what my whole focus is. This is also a great timing for what was formerly NaNoWriMo. November is Novel Writing Month. Now it's called NovNov. And it's an opportunity to write 50,000 words, which is usually a pretty significant first chapter of a book. I am about 48,000 words now. I know that I got like about a little under 2,000 to go, but I think I'm going to be able to make that because I'm not finished yet. Like expanding the interaction between some of these characters and sussing it out to make it more cohesive. One of the characters and her coming back to her mother is going to be before the community, Acorn, and the collab or anybody else goes into outer space. So here is my take on Larkin. The reunion was not a joyful one. Marcus, tall and imposing, his face etched with the lines of a man who had seen too much sorrow, was both a mirror and a stranger. He took me in, not as a family member, but as a project. He saw the fire in my eyes, the skill in my hands, and he saw a tool, a weapon he could use. He brought me into his inner circle, his ministry, a place of order and purpose, and he told me his plan. He would use my skills with the Dream Mask to expand Christian America's re-education programs, to create a world where change was not terrifying enemy, but a controlled, predictable servant. My life was no longer a dance of avoidance. It was a dance of purpose because her adoptive father was a little bit handsy and was probably more than that. At least that's what I insinuate. I had a past, a history, a family I had never known. and I had a future that was not my own. I was a pawn, a daughter, a weapon. I was Asher. I had just found a God that was not just in my dreams. He was in my DNA. He was in my blood, and he was waiting for me. I began to use the Dream Viewer to create a new kind of content, not the crude propaganda of Red Hill, but a more subtle, emotionally manipulative series of virtual experiences that reinforced my uncle's fixed God. I was his digital evangelist, a ghost in the machine shaping the minds of the next generation. My first students was Marcus's own children. They were born by surrogacy, a new generation of believers who had never known hardship. I was tasked with their re-education, using my skills to shape their minds, to make them into the perfect products of Christian America. The irony was a cold, bitter weight in my heart. The tool that had given me freedom was now being used to imprison others, including my own family, in a different kind of system. I had traded one form of bondage for another, a slavery of faith instead of a slavery of the market. I was part of a system that had created me, and as I looked at the innocent faces of my new cousins, I knew that the war had truly begun. The war had truly begun. The most profound and chilling irony of my new life was in the very heart of the Christian American philosophy. Marcus preached a gospel of freedom. He spoke of his peoples escaping the chaos of the pox, of building a new world based on fixed, unyielding God, a God that offered the ultimate security. His followers saw themselves as truly free people, liberated from a world of anarchy and uncertainty. They were a community built on a bedrock of faith and moral authority, a fortress against the moral decay that swept the world. But in the quiet moments, in the privacy of my dream viewer, I saw the truth. I saw the records of my own grandfather, Reverend Olamina, the very man I had seen on the Red Hill propaganda broadcast. I assumed he was a corporate man, a willing participant in the New World Order. But the decrypted files told a different story. He was a prisoner, a slave. The freedom he had been given was a fiction, a small comfort in a life of servitude. The programs I was using for Marcus were being developed to control and placate people like my grandfather, to make them better, more compliant slaves. My uncle, the minister of freedom, was an accomplice to my grandfather's imprisonment. I looked at the children, my cousins, whose minds I was molding. They were born in a world of physical comfort and spiritual certainty. They were not indentured in the way my grandfather was, but their souls were captive, bound by a dogma that saw change as a sin and obedience as virtue. They were being raised to be a different kind of product, a different kind of slave. The workhouses had bodies and Christian America had souls. The two systems were not in opposition. They were a cruel, symbolic whole. My uncle preached a gospel of freedom from a pulpit built on the back of my enslaved grandfather, and I, the ghost who had escaped, was now a digital slave, helping to build a new world of spiritual bondage. I was no longer a pawn, I was a trickster, and the game had just begun. I'm going to need to develop this a little bit more, because I can see in the next part, this was more, I kind of get into it a little bit, and then this is how she finds out. Through the dream viewer, she finds her Uncle Marcus. He gets aware of her, kind of in alignment with the original parable of the talents, but she also goes deeper into other and forgotten about encrypted files, because the security of such information devolves into chaos like much of the known American society during the period of the pox. And that's when she finds out that who her mother was at, instead of her being rescued from when they overran that community, she finds out about her kidnapping. And I don't want to that's messy in and of itself. But her journey to rejoining her mother and then becoming a part of the community that she was taught to despise is going to be telling. And I just need to work on that a little bit more. And at least I think I'm going to get about 500 to maybe 750 words just on that in itself when I rework that part of my narrative. I'm not writing the parable of the trickster. This is my, based on that narrative, trickster, a parable. And I hope as I develop it, not only will the listening audience enjoy it, but I hope somebody will actually pick it up so it can be published in its entirety. And I'm already looking into that. I'll probably, the first edition, I'm going to publish it probably myself, self-publish it. But who knows? Maybe someone will pass this on to one of the conventional publishers and they'll pick it up. Who knows? I'm just hopeful. And I'm also enjoying what I'm doing. I also am probably going to go on hiatus and just basically use the time to focus on making money, because that was a perennial problem, basically securing income that Octavia had when she first started out and was actually in the middle of the writing of the original Parable series. But also focusing on my video as well as the script narrative for Twin Destiny, the story of Kochu and her sister, Korean twins, female twins separated at birth, one raised by Japanese expatriates, the other raised through the concubine, lesser concubine in the Korean royal family in the 16th century. That's going to take a little bit more work to do. And I plan on just maybe using this November towards those endeavors. And I just hope you guys continue to follow me as I release the video on social media, YouTube, and possibly further excerpts in my on my Dale's Angels Inc. blog. Is in alignment with a podcast segment dedicated to a fictional PI and all about true crime, or fictional crime in this case. Don't you think? Well, children, gather around. Here we go again with a $500 million magic show. Who's on the hook for about $500 million large? BlackRock, one of the large investment managers in the world, got their pockets ran for $500 million. Think about that. A little Indian dude with his old bobble-head came up with the idea that used his accounts receivable, and for customers, for people, business world, and not. That is who owes you money. And used it as collateral to secure a $500 million loan from BlackRock. Except he faked his invoices. Basically, their contracts were fictitious, fake email domains, and non-existent clients who did their due diligence by handing over these millions in the booming private credit market, but they actually missed that whole part where somebody was chasing the number but not doing their due diligence because it was a paper kingdom, meaning there was a lot of fakeness going on. So they basically then, after the money was transferred to an offshore account, the investors became unreachable. Investigators showed up at the office, the doors were locked, the building was quiet, money gone. And now they end up in court in this massive lawsuit because they want their money back. But is it insured? These loans insured? What are they insured for? And how do you trace that grip? Can't reverse the credit once it's already gone out. They wired that money, gone. It is so massive and embarrassing. But they got caught slipping. BlackRock manages hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe up to $1 trillion at this point, and they still can get got. And this hurts my feelings about lost money. I just want to increase my margins on my little piddly retail account. And Charles Schwab is like, nah, girl, you're going to have to wait and come up, make sure what you actually do have investments will actually come to fruition before we call this margin. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. I'm still researching things like my futures contract, my daily summaries, and all the legal entries into my ledgers as far as that particular account on a monthly basis. So I'm still trying to understand those statements while I'm trying to explore what I actually have in balances and how my positions are doing. But this is such elementary due diligence. Before any amount of money over a certain amount or any amount, I'm going to need to see validation of your customers. Maybe they think their soup too big, or nobody in this day of secondary verification would actually realize that they faked all of this. But I'm sure Japhis thought she was going to do this smoke and mirrors and fake it till she make it. Nah, this was a straight up fraud. And he had some legitimate business, but he wasn't as big, and not as many people owed him on the level that he was trying to get the money he was trying to move. It just boggles the mind. Even the really smart money managers at BlackRock, you can still get got. So what can happen to little people like me? I don't got $500, let alone 500 million to let somebody and just let the money just bleed through my fingers. I really don't. So that I'll actually leave the links to the article that I read from the Wall Street Journal. But we are living in a time where these cases are going to become more outrageous. We're talking about out and out theft. We're talking about even pump and dump scams. They're just getting bigger and bolder as the information age and as we march into this volatile financial world of it all. But if you stay really true to yourself, you truly do your due diligence, and you know how to read when someone and dig into these financial statements and understand what truly is going on. Is it smoke and mirrors, or is it a legit business entity? Because ain't nobody got time to lose any type of money. And 500 million is crazy to me. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of unholy amount of information, ungodly information that's coming out on the reality TV world. And what better yet of using the instrumental of Unholy as I record on this glorious Sunday morning. So I'm tired of, okay, I love Bell Collective to a certain extent. I love anything Carlos King has done to a certain extent. What I'm not interested in is always a devolvement into who shot John, etc. I'm more interested into figuring out, after having so many kids and living with that ponytail, bald-headed fool of an ex-husband, and I suspect some shade from his now wife, how does Selena look so amazing to be 49? Her glow up, I'm more interested in that. How she survived all of the body blows, the murder of her son, having his clothes, and just living. What would have killed anybody else, it seems to have made her stronger and more beautiful. I don't know if it's just great genes or a great surgeon. Either way, I'm here for it. I'm interested in finding out that Sheila E. wannabe look-alike from the Gulf Coast. What is her deal? And are we ever going to see her and all her fabulousness in her restaurant? I want to see the food. I want to see Marie or her Hoation. I'm fascinated how she ended back up bossing around her ex-husband Cedric. What I am not interested in is if Letitia keeps going or stays with Glenn in spite of everything, whether old or new. One of the things that has made it clear, they ain't separating because they're messier together. So, but what I'm not interested in as a viewer is continuing to have these episodes booked in by his foolishness. This is the Bell Collective. Why are we still seeing every episode you have to have in the mix the dumbness of it all? I get it. That's your real life, but ain't nobody got this much realness where you trying to glow up and get your goal for yours, and you still have to contend with that because you always look in a perpetual state of confusion. I'm tired of the confused looks, even though whoever's styling Letitia Pearson this year is doing a marvelous job. However, I'm tired of this. What else you got going on? You got that son. You basically restarting the Mississippi brunches. So is this just for fluff, or are you trying to, if this is going to be your storyline, I'm going to need to see less of it. Because one thing that Marie said, the positiveness of the collective is what it makes, it does make for good TV. There could be some messiness in there. You know what I mean? I want to see, for somebody that can't talk, Latrice's husband, Cliff, that Taste is supposed to be one of the biggest places in Jackson. Why are we going all the way to Gulfport? Why don't y'all want to be in there? Why can't y'all film in there? What else is going on? Y'all have a richer story that and also signifies the reality of this collective than what we are seeing. The bookend of the blackmail foolishness, I'm tired of it. What else you got going on? Let's go. You know, this past week has been a bunch of tomfoolery and foolishness, and I'm not sure how this cast is going to get away from it. I'm sitting here watching these non-eating, underfed, over Botox heifers on Real Housewives of the OC, and it is obvious to me anyways that they're willing to give props to someone, because I honestly think they all banded together and decided that even in spite of everything that she was going on, they had to get Tamra back. They were intent on icing her out, even in spite of what she was going through. Gretchen came in, but she didn't deliver on the mess. She was on some bullshit. She kept bringing back historically things from years ago, over a decade ago, that nobody in this cast and the viewership gives a F about. We tired of seeing Slade and his crusty feet and his benching belly, dad bod, and still complaining that he's been cut out. He's lost business deal. What business deal? You are crap. You're not talented. And you now have a suburban life living off your girlfriend because she won't marry you because she knows you're a financial liability. This cast they're going to need to figure this out because they tried putting Tamra on pause and it did not work out. There is no single person that could keep things moving. Tamra Judge is messy, don't get me wrong, but there's nobody with that type of dynamic that can keep things moving like she can. So y'all gonna figure it out, or you're gonna need to go elsewhere because we're tired. I know I'm tired of seeing the same bullshit. I'm tired of hearing Emily scream. I'm tired of this waffling. There is nothing that Gretchen can do to get out of the stupidness that she's been exhibiting online. The reason why Gina and your ditzy ass can't find the messages because the owner of the account deleted them, probably at the behest of Slade. And y'all paid some money for some detective work. What detective work? It's either yay or nay. Did she get roped in to like and react to these god-awful messages? Yes. Could have Tamra have probably pointed them out to her or like some type of fake account? But that doesn't negate the fact that you went to some obscure account and liked something. And if you're not going to resolve it, you're going to need to stop talking about it because you can't prove it and your reaction is so stupid. And Slade saying all this stuff because you still bitter because some woman basically outmaneuvered you and outlasted your prop on this show. I'm tired. I'm thinking it was a mistake bringing Gretchen Rossi back. If she's not going to come with anything new or she's not going to be able to explain and be truthful about liking an account, whether they were fake or trolly accounts or not, you're going to need to go. Heather Dubrow, either eat a sandwich or move, or just try to get your fans to rally to get you to Beverly Hills. Shannon Bedore, I'm tired of you. Get a new stick or get a life. Emily, you're going to need to shut the fuck up. I'm tired of the yelling. Gina, pick a side and read a book. Jen, just grow some brains. Or just go to the Oz and get you some, girl. And Tamara, if you need to take a break for your own mental health to make sure Teddy's okay and to make sure you're okay, good for you. Do something productive on this off season to prepare for the next season. I think she's the only one that's actually truly guaranteed a spot. The rest of them, I don't know, girl. All of y'all are making me tired. You can take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take hood music out the girl. But I'm going to end this with a word, just as I started this podcast. Do or do not do. There is no try. And that's a word from Yoda. I hope I have conveyed just how much fun I have had in creating this podcast. I've got my mojo back. Just set your intention or reset your intention. It could be daily if necessary. Mine is peace. No mental dumping over here. If I'm acting like I'm not listening, I'm probably not. I'm not your therapist. I'm not a therapist. Keep the crazy to yourself, child. You do you and leave me be. The sooner you figure that ish out, the happier you will be. So this is what I want to convey in this podcast. And that wraps another of F.A.A.F.O has a fro. Join me next time as I throw shade and point out the shade and simply have fun. Y'all have a great new year. What, y'all? What?